Vrindavan, where is Tony? Vrindavan, where is Tony? Tony? Huh?
ठीक है
ये हिस्ट्री
Very well.
Read the other forest fire.
Yes. Right. Tomorrow is for forest fire and what are the others? Please. Pralamba sweet. Read Pralamba sweet. Delivery of Pralamba sweet. Killing of Pralamba sweet.
वाले लोग जिनके पास FM नहीं हो पीछे आ सकते हैं और जिनके पास FM है 100 नंबर पे FM पे हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन हो रहा है तो आप
English?
Translation. He's talking about translation.
Oh, yes. भाषांतर करना अच्छा हिंदी में भाषांतर इंग्लिश से हिंदी
So, the killing of Pralambasura.
killing of Pralambasura in Bhandirban.
So this is
We soon go there in no time. Maybe just a matter of night gap in between. Now you can see what happened there.
so this is Krishna book chapter 18, killing of Pralambasura.
Excuse me, please switch off all. Telephone.
Chapter 18, Krishna book.
Chapter 18, Krishna Pralambasura Bad. Gaunitai. No.
So the killing of the demon Pralambasura,
50-60.
chapter 18. After extinguishing the devastating fire, Krishna, surrounded by his relatives, friends, cows and calves and bulls, and glorified by his friends singing again, entered Vrindavan, which is always full of cows. While and Balaram were enjoying life in Vrindavan, in the midst of the cowherd boys and girls, the season gradually. The summer season in India is not very much welcomed because of the excessive heat. But everyone was pleased because summer appeared just like spring. This was possible only because Lord Krishna and Balaram, who are the controllers of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, were residing there. There are many falls which are always pouring water, and the sound is so sweet that it covers the sound of the crickets.
Where? Anybody know?
Govardhan.
Can you see now?
And because water flows all over, the forest always looks very green and beautiful. The inhabitants of Vrindavan never scorching heat of the sun or the high summer temperatures. The lakes of Vrindavan are surrounded by green grasses, and various kinds of lotus flowers bloom there, such as the kalhar, hanja, and utpal. And the air blowing in Vrindavan carries the aromatic pollen of those lotus flowers. When the particles of water from the waves of the Jamuna, the lakes and the water touched the bodies of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they automatically felt a cooling effect. Therefore, they were practically undisturbed by the summer season. Vrindavan is such a nice place. Flowers are always blooming, and there are even various kinds of decorated deer. Birds are chirping, peacocks are crowing and dancing, and bees are humming. The cuckoos there sing nicely in 5 kinds of tunes. Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure, blowing his flute, accompanied by his elder brother Balaram and the other cowherd boys and the cows, entered the beautiful forest of Vrindavan to enjoy the atmosphere. They walked into the midst of newly grown leaves and trees whose flowers resembled peacock feathers. They were garlanded by those flowers and decorated with saffron chalk. Sometimes they were dancing and singing, and sometimes wrestling with one another. While Krishna danced, some of the cowherd boys sang, and others played on flutes. Some bugled on buffalo horns or clapped their hands, praising Krishna. Dear brother, you are dancing very nicely. Actually, all these boys were demigods descended from higher planets to assist Krishna in his pastimes. The demigods, garbed in the dress of the cowherd boys, were encouraging Krishna in his dancing, just as one artist encourages another with praise. Up to that time, neither Balaram nor Krishna had undergone the hair cutting ceremony. Therefore, their hair was clustered like crow's feathers. They were always playing hide and seek, or jumping or fighting with them. Sometimes, while his friends were chanting and dancing, Krishna, my dear friends, you are dancing and singing very nicely. The boys played at catching ball with fruits such as bale and amalak. They played blind man's bluff, maybe blind man's bluff, challenging and touching one another. Sometimes they imitated the forest deer and various kinds of birds. They joked with one another by imitating croaking frogs, and they enjoyed swinging underneath the trees. Sometimes they would play amongst themselves like a king and his subjects. In this way, Balaram and Krishna, along with all their friends, played all kinds of sports and enjoyed the soothing atmosphere of Vrindavan, full of rivers, lakes, rivulets, fine trees, and excellent gardens filled with fruits and flowers. Once, while the boys were engaged in their transcendental pastimes, a great demon of the name Pralambasura entered their company, desiring to kidnap both Balaram and Krishna. Although Krishna was playing the part of a cowherd boy, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he could understand everything, past, present, and future. So when Pralambasura entered their company, Krishna began to think how to kill the demon. But externally, he received him as a friend. "Oh, my dear friend," he said, "it is very good that you have come to take part in our pastimes." Krishna then called all his friends and ordered them, "Now we shall play in pairs. We shall challenge one another in pairs." With this proposal, all the boys assembled together. Some of them took the side of Krishna and some of them took the side of Balaram, and they arranged to play in a duel. The defeated members in duel fighting had to carry the victorious members on their backs, as a horse carries its master. They began playing and at the same time tended the cows as they proceeded through vrindavan forest. The party of Balaram, accompanied by Sridham and Rishabh, came out victorious. And Krishna's party had to carry them on their backs through the vrindavan forest. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, being defeated, had to carry Sridham on his back, and Bhadrasen carried Rishabh. Imitating their play, Pralambasura, who appeared there as a cowherd boy, carried Balaram on his back. Pralambasura was the greatest of the demons, and he had calculated that Krishna was the most powerful of the cowherd boys. In order to avoid the company of Krishna, Pralambasura carried Balaram far away. The demon was undoubtedly very strong and powerful, but he was carrying Balaram, who was compared to a mountain. Therefore he began to feel the burden, and thus he assumed his real form. When he appeared in his real feature, he was decorated with a golden helmet and earrings and looked just like a cloud with lightning carrying the moon. Balaram observed the demon's body expanding up to the limits of the clouds, his eyes dazzling like blazing fire, and his mouth flashing with sharpened teeth. At first, Balaram was surprised by the demon's appearance, and he began to wonder, how is it that all of a sudden this carrier has changed in every way? But with a clear mind, he could quickly understand that he was being carried away from his friends. By a demon who intended to kill him. Immediately he struck the head of the demon with his strong fist, just as the king of the heavenly planets strikes a mountain with his thunderbolt. Stricken by the fist of Balaram, the demon fell down dead, just like a snake with a smashed head, and blood poured from his mouth. When the demon fell, he made a tremendous sound, and it sounded as if a great hill were falling upon being struck by the thunderbolt of King Indra. All the boys then rushed to the spot. Astonished by the ghastly scene, they began to praise Balaram with the words, "Well done, well done." All of them then embraced Balaram with great affection, thinking that he had returned from death, and they offered their blessings and congratulations. All the demigods in the heavenly planets became very satisfied and showered flowers on the transcendental body of Balaram. And they also offered their blessings and congratulations for having killed the great demon Pralambasura. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 18th chapter of Krishna killing the demon Pralambasura.
This happened in Bhandirvan and in Vrindavan. How many forests? 12. So Bhandirvan is one, which is which side of the Jamuna? Other side. What are the other forests there?
We are other side. To them, we are other side.
Here this side. Bhandirvan the other side. That is east side. And this is west side. So there are 7 forests one side, 1 forest 5. So what are these forests? 12 forests. Each one tell one name. Lohavan, Kumudvan, Kokilvan, Khadirvan, Vrindavan. ये बोला वो साइड में क्या आप बोलो हाँ बहुलावन हियर The other side one, as we tell, is not 12 one stage.
Lower one.
That one, bell one, tal one, kama one. Now 12 forest. Then Khadir one, Bhadra one. Bhadra one is other side.
Normally nobody see
Nobody
near
see.
to Badiraban, between
Near to
Manas
Bhadra
Sarovar.
one.
One time I stopped
Near Mansarovar.
Manas Sarovar, yeah. Near where we are going tomorrow.
Achha.
Yeah.
We can go to one, Bhadra one.
Temple, Krishna became Bhadra there. Same here, Krishna there.
Really? How far from the Mansarovar?
No, from the Bhandir board, it is like 5-6 kilometers.
Oh, from the Bhandir board, where this thing happened. Where we do drama.
Yes, yes.
So here is drama, director is here. Satraj, chief actor. Mustika, Satraj Mustika is here. Pradambasur. Tony is Pradambasur. Huh? Now, shall we read? You have got time to 7 o'clock now. Still can read another small. Read Krishna swallowing fire. Huh? Another twice he swallowed fire. One here, one somewhere else. One Bandirvan, okay.
So this is the next chapter, I think.
Huh.
So this is the next chapter, I think. Krishna book, chapter 19, devouring the forest fire. While Krishna and Balaram, chapter 19, while Krishna and Balaram and their friends were engaged in the pastimes described above, the cows, being unobserved, began to wander off on their own, entering farther and farther into the deepest part of the forest, allured by fresh grasses. The goats, cows, and buffalo traveled from one forest to another and entered the forest known as Ishikatavi. The forest was full of green grass, and therefore they were allured. But when they entered, they saw that there was a forest fire, and they began to cry. On the other side, Balaram and Krishna, along with their friends, could not find their animals, and they became very much aggrieved. They began to trace the cows by following their footprints, as well as the path of eaten grass. All of the boys were fearing that their very means of livelihood, the cows, were now lost. When searching out the cows in the forest, they themselves became very tired and thirsty. Soon, however, they heard the crying of their cows. Krishna began to call the cows by their respective names.
Tell some of the names, everybody. Radharani has got a bull. What is his name? Krishna has got a dog. What is his name? Krishna has got also a peacock, pet. Nartaki. And Krishna and Radharani have got their parrots. Sukhasari. What is taka?
Soon, however, they heard the crying of the cows. Krishna began to call the cows by their respective names with great noise. Upon hearing Krishna calling the cows, upon hearing Krishna calling, the cows immediately replied with joy. But by this time, the forest fire had surrounded all of them, and the situation appeared to be very fearful. The flames increased as the wind blew very quickly, and it appeared that everything movable and immovable would be devoured. All the cows and the boys became very frightened, and they looked toward Balaram and Krishna the way a dying man looks at the picture of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They said, my dear Krishna, you and Balaram are very powerful. We are now burning from the heat of this blazing fire. Let us take shelter of your lotus feet. We know you can protect us from this great danger. Our dear friend Krishna, we are your intimate friends. It is not right that we should suffer in this way. We are all completely dependent on you, and you are the knower of all religious life. We do not know anyone except you. The Personality of Godhead heard the appealing voices of his friends, and casting a pleasing glance over them, he began to answer. By speaking through his eyes, he impressed upon his friends that there was no cause for fear. And he assured them, don't worry. Then Krishna, the Supreme Mystic, the powerful Personality of Godhead, immediately swallowed up all the flames of the fire. The cows and the boys were thus saved from the imminent danger. Out of fear, the boys were almost unconscious, but when they regained their consciousness and opened their eyes, they saw they were again in the Bandir forest with Krishna, Balaram, and the cows. They were astonished to see that they were completely free from the attack of the blazing fire, and that the cows were saved. They secretly thought that Krishna must be not an ordinary boy, but some demigod. In the evening, Krishna and Balaram, along with the boys and cows, returned to Vrindavan, playing their flutes. As they approached the village, all the gopis became very joyous. Throughout the day, the gopis used to think of Krishna while he was in the forest. And in his absence, they were considering one moment to be like 12 years. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 19th chapter of Krishna devouring the forest fire.
Where it say again, one moment appears to be like now what else? Anything? এখন 7:10 কিছু announcement নেই। বলিস they just take care of their children. I mean, we are not responsible. Don't do anywhere all these things. Take some coins to give to the deity, small 1 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupee. Better give to the hand of one or devotee, and he'll give it to the pujari. Better not give personally. এইসব বলে দেয় যেগুলো যেগুলো সাধারণত বলে।
Tomorrow, 5:30 to like 5:45, we will start our class. We have 15 minutes time. And then by this time, you have to come to the bus. And the bus may start 5 o'clock, 5:30 or 5:45, like in between. And bus will go first to Mansarva, and there bhajan, kirtan, and then class, and then prasadam will be there.
মৃদঙ্গ করতো
Everyone can bring gamsa to take bath. They are in the Mansarva there to take bath. And like 9 o'clock for prasadam there.
অত সকালে
9 or 10 o'clock prasadam.
10 o'clock কি সকালের ব্রেকফাস্ট?
Breakfast prasadam.
হ্যাঁ, তার আগে চান করবি নাকি ওখানে?
No, স্নান যে কোনো জায়গায়।
আচ্ছা, ওই বেলবানে করতে পারে। ভান্ডিরবনে তো জায়গা নেই পেছনে, ভান্ডিরবন নাথিং, ভান্ডিরবন লাস্ট, তার আগে বেলবন, বেলবন যমুনা ইজ দেয়ার, মেবি লিটল ওয়াটার.
Everyone can bring gamsa, but there is the opportunity you can take shower, bath. From after Belbon we will go to Bhandirpon, and from in Bhandirpon we will be last prasadam will be there, and there will be drama, long time we will be there with Guru Maharaj in Bhandirpon, and there are glories mentioned in the Shastra that in one time we were entered into Bhandirpon, we never entered into the womb of the mother again.
Hari.
Back to the so this Bhandirpon is very famous, glorious, glorious Bhandirpon.
ওই যে পরিক্রমার বইটা নিয়ে যাব, ভক্তি ইসের লোকনাথের ওই যে নিয়ে এসছে একটা কৃষ্ণকান্তা, ওটা কোথায় জানি কোন ঘরে, ইন আওয়ার রুম.
So our kitchen in charge, Abhinam Prabhu. Abhinam Prabhu will, prasadam will be sometime, Prabhu, in Bhandirpon.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, prasadam will be. 9:30 or 10 o'clock we go, prasadam there. There will be Belbon, maybe 1 hour, we'll quick, we'll go to Bhandirpon, and after finishing Belbon, because Bhandirpon, we can have long time and very nice rest in Bhandirpon. And if we have time, we can go to Bongshipur, near the Bhandirpon, there is one Bongshipur. And that Bongshipur is still, after the kirtan there, if you put your ear on the tight with the tree, then you can hear the sound of music.
হ্যাঁ কি
Still
হ্যাঁ,
in the Bongshipur.
ওই বংশটা যেতে ভান্ডিরবন যেতে বাদিকে ওই ভিতরে একটা.
So that everyone can experience this. So we'll go to Bongshipur. We'll go to Bongshipur and then Bhandirpon.
ভান্ডিরবন.
Then in Bongshipur, still this, any pilgrimage goes there, they can have the music.
So where you take breakfast from Mansarovar to going to Belbon, their breakfast or Mansarovar?
Mansarovar will have the breakfast.
আচ্ছা
We'll have Shattakun time, we'll have more bhajan, kirtan,
আচ্ছা.
and prasadam. And then
Belwan we're skipping because the bus can't go to Belwan. You have to walk 2-3 kilometers.
Difficult, না?
Very tight.
Very tight. So Belbon skip off.
we'll go to Bongshipur.
আচ্ছা.
We'll go to Bongshipur, and then Bongshipur,
Bongshipur in Bhandirpon.
near the Bhandirpon.
On the way to Bhandirpon, just little before. So Belbon we don't go. How they take
So we
bath?
have only one bus,
Too much.
because rail station,
Take
maybe
bath,
whatever
Jamuna.
name
How
we have
many
got,
when we was going in the
according to
last,
that we book the bus.
they take time.
So we were not given the
Devaki has
name,
to walk
they can
around.
have Gauranga seat.
Down.
Car can go.
In the bus. Gauranga seat. And you are late, so we have to adjust, we were discussing. All the promotion is going to the Sankirtan bus. On the roof also.
Already two buses have got a capacity 100. He already here is maybe 60 or little over.
Here, one bus we go 60-seater bus.
Only one bus there.
One bus.
One cancel.
Yes.
Cancel.
How many count here? More than 60.
This is the group,
20 are going by
70. So 10 or 10, 12 will go to the 15 will go to the Sankirtan bus,
Huh.
and then we will adjust in one bus. And Governor Red Staff is still, you will register your name, we sign up with Srinidhi Prabhu, so that we can exactly do.
Also speaking Hindi, some many may not understand. Translating. Anything else? No? তুই বলে দে অন্য কিছু একটা যার যার এই দায়িত্ব রাখতে নিজের টাকা পয়সা ও পান্ডাকে ভোটের সামনে পয়সা করে বাচ্চাগুলো এসে পয়সা চায়
And
Bail
people
money.
full of your money belongings, and many pandas may come, not many, this area, not many pandas.
হ্যাঁ
Stuff, but
don't
still-
show all your currency notes.
And Keep some change rupees.
small change, 5 rupees, 10 rupees, to give one devotee, so he can give together to the Panda if it is necessary, to the deity.
We requested many times to हम आपको कई बार रिक्वेस्ट किया आप अपना नाम दो तो नाम दिया नहीं तो नाम जो नहीं दिया जो नाम दिया वो तो फर्स्ट उनका अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगा और जो नाम नहीं दिया वो भी बाद में आएंगे लेकिन हम एडजस्ट करेंगे बस में खड़े गौरव को सीट लेके चले जाएंगे नाम नहीं दे रहा है
कौन कौन रजिस्टर नहीं किया अभी? Which devotees have not registered yet? Please raise your hands. Raise your hands who have not registered.
Full up.
जिसने रजिस्टर नहीं किया अभी कृपया हाथ उठाइए.
एक ये संकीर्तन some hands go up and down.
गड़बड़ हो जाता है ना
भांडीर में तो नहाने जगह नहीं इतना only Mansarovar and but what about Bhadravan? They don't have. Jada
It's small, just a thing.
only Belvan in the.
You can go back around.
I can also under taps take bath. Even Bahulvan in the Kua I took bath somewhere. Once in Bhandirvan. Huh. Big Kua. But Bhandirvan also once I took bath.
Yeah, you took.
In a tap, I think.
Yeah.
And taken a
Once
bucket
you took
once.
and pump with
Usually Belvan many devotees take it. There is a Jamuna there. That we have to go through the sun. Now it's not sun is scorching.
Nice.
How far from Bhandir to Belvan? Quite distance.
20 minutes by car.
For me, it's not difficult. You can take bath anywhere.
You can go by your car.
Belvan full of kids always coming.
Up to gate. After that, make outside.
Inside the temple also they come. But there is some bathroom toilet there in
Yeah,
Belvan.
you went once. Then
Long walk to take bath.
Guru Maharaj ne. I can't reach in front of him.
You have to keep the bus somewhere and then
It's
walk.
far for us.
In a village, E road.
It take 20-minute walk.
20 minutes? তাহলে কি এখন দীপদান সব হয়ে গেছে নমামি সারাম হ্যাঁ আচ্ছা হ্যাঁ গোড়া hey do some fired up chanting dancing it's good. The other day we had. Then Namami Sharam later. First do little kirtan, 10-15 minutes.